I'm not saying that this is a sleep paralysis demon. It might visit you in the middle of the night, between wakefulness and REM sleep. Is there any way to do that not ominously? Nailed it. What do you do when you're 32 years old and you're swimming in existential dread and self-doubt? That's right. We make puppets. That's right. As you may know, I am unapologetically in my puppet era. Much like Taylor Swift. But I think my Eras tour would probably have a lot less glitter and pyrotechnics, much more unknowingly sewing with empty bobbins and hot glue burns. It has been a year since my last dragon puppet, and listen, that's too long. I'm here to rectify that with another little guy. Are ye surprised? I want to do a little baby Toothless puppet from How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know why this is just been in my head. Because this project has so much going on, we don't have time for pleasantries. In fact, our trees are gonna look like the ones from Snow White. Intimidating as hell. Let's head to design phase and then we can get started. Are you ready? Okay friends, so this puppet is gonna be a little bit smaller scale than my Drogon puppet. He's just gonna sit in my arms like a little baby, with my left arm in sort of a precarious position, and then that hand controlling the jaw. I would love to figure out a blinking eye mechanism and also retracting teeth. And then throw in a fake arm, because why not? That is the plan, but first it's time to be the epitome of fashion to the fabric store. Of course, a fashionable outfit is not complete without a hairstyle that makes people go. What is that? As well as necessary car jams.
Of mills and factories in the late 1800s, many people still lived in rural spaces.
Nightmare frogs aside, I needed some foam for the body of this puppet.
Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob!
You ready to cause some chaos? I have my two foam children right here. I am going to glue these together so that I have just a big ol' hunk. I should be able to carve out his little body. I have purchased a special tool. It comes in this adorable little briefcase. It looks like I'm going to the office with my teeny tiny little documents. An electric clipper. A bit intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. I need to map out what this little Toothless's body, is gonna look like. Thought I heard footsteps. The ghosts are really riled up about dragons, baby. Get my iced coffee. For any of you non-New Englanders wondering. I'm going to do a couple sketches from the sides, from the front, maybe from like a quarter angle. I have a heck of a time trying to figure out three-dimensional shapes when sculpting. That part of my brain went on lunch break and never came back. For references, I guess there was like a mobile game or something that had a baby Toothless in it, so I used that a lot. I also used a couple toys, but definitely not this monstrosity. Nick just called me and told me to very quietly exit the barn and look to the left over the wall. That's majestic. To glue these pieces of foam together, I sat outside on my pollen-encased deck, just slapped some on both sides, then realized I was really giving the country grandpa vibe. Get me a banjo and I'll live up to my true potential. When the glue was tacky, I just very gracefully pushed those together. Then came time to figure out how big I wanted this, and then of course the most satisfying part. Didn't frickin' work. Wrought with disappointment, I just continued chopping all this out with the turkey carver and then kind of smoothing it out with scissors. My son. Let's make some leggies, baby. Woo! This was along the same process, just kind of mapping it out and trying to get this three-dimensional shape out of this block of foam. If only Michelangelo could see me now, he'd probably say, "Oh my God, where am I? Hello?" Then for the very scientific process of figuring out how big this head needed to be. It was tricky to figure out what it would look like from all angles, but it was kind of fun. I didn't actually end up doing much carving on this. I kind of just mainly stuck to scissors to get more control. Wow, I don't think his head is completely how I want it yet. The eyes are not gonna bug out this much. This is just kind of temporary placement so I can see. And then his little jaw. Pretty decent progress for today. Yeah. All right then, I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Oh my. Who can say where the road goes? I'm not gonna lie, this is the part of the project where I get a teensy bit overwhelmed because there's a lot that needs to happen all at once, yet some things can't happen until other things happen. DoorDash. Pay no attention to the silly girl in front of the camera. In fact, while I wait for that, here's what the puppet looks like so far. Let's break it down. Pardon me, sir. Things that need to happen. Wrap his body in the fabric, which is a faux leather, which I know is absolute garbo for the environment, but I had it left over from another project. Don't really want seam lines. I'm gonna have one regardless, probably. Can figure out a way to get just one seam line. Wrapping this, because the fabric is stretchy, I think I might be able to get away with that. Initially, I was thinking I would do that with the head too. I just don't foresee that working. Just cover his head in foam clay, much like I did with Drogon. Now putting foam clay on top of upholstery foam is a pain in the arse. Not my favorite thing to do. Before we do that, I need to make his little nubbins. And then I need to figure out the eyes. He looks like a little lizard. I'm feeling a little bit better about my plan. I think we should just get to work. Welcome to my den of calamity. This fabric smells like actual death. Probably inside out. I'm just gonna wrap, pin around. When I sew it, it'll keep that shape. Right? Okay. This might work. Pin. How's that overhead view? Is it purely just ponytail? Probably. Yeah. So it'll look something like that, but tighter. After all, he's just a wee babe, and he has a lot of growing to do, so he would have extra skin. Oh, my knees didn't crack. Am I getting younger?
11 minutes later.
'Tis sewed. Perfect. There is a seam here from the dart, but he's gonna be covered in these little scales, so I think we can hide that. All right, I think with a little adjusting, we did it. Huzzah! To make the tail, it's pretty easy. I just made like a little tube out of the fabric, sewed it, turned it inside out. Used some armature wire to the length that I wanted, stuffed it with stuffing. I really liked the flexibility of this, but realized that it was way too skinny and he looked like a little rat man. So I redid it with a thicker tail. So I maybe thought of a solution for my eyeball problem. In normal context, that would be a doctor, but make an eyeball myself. I want it to be the size that I want it to be because I really don't like how much the glass bulbs bulge. Crumple up some tin foil in the shape that I want it. Epoxy sculpt details of the eye, the iris, the pupil. Paint it, put clear Warbler over it in a dome shape while hopefully still making it round enough that when I try to do these blinkable eyelids, the eyelids can still move over it without any problems. Let's get to work. Hi, it's me. I ended up scrapping this and just using the bulbs instead. All right, moving on. That wasn't smooth. Again! Much better. I am here at the fabric store. My quest is to find stuff to make the blinking eye mechanism and possibly the retracting teeth. My favorite sport of futzing around and finding out. Wish me luck. Successful. Listen, you know me, and I'm not a Halloween humbug by any means, but it's mid-June. I have Halloween decorations up. Discuss amongst yourselves whether or not it's too early. The eye mechanism itself is pretty simple. You have the bulb with a hole cut in the middle, and then you stick the wire through, and then you bend more wire around that so that it creates a blinking eyelid. Yeehaw. I am going to use these baubles, stick a metal rod through, which I got these. I don't actually know what they're supposed to be meant for. Just little shish kebabs. If you could stay together while I'm trying to do my David Bowie moment, that'd be great. Before I could even move any further with that, I needed to actually make the irises and the pupils, so I did the tin foil, slapped some epoxy sculpt on there, and then just followed some reference photos to sculpt the details in. I also made little toes out of foam clay. Then it was time for the wings, which I used the same kind of method for the tail, except a little chunkier. I created the wings themselves just out of the single layer of the fabric. Same thing with the tail fins, and because he is just a wee baby, I'm giving him both his fins. Then just use puffy paint to make the little lines. Would you like to see my nightmare child? Oh my god, he is so scary. Listen, I'm not saying that this is a sleep paralysis demon, but also I'm not saying it might visit you in the middle of the night between wakefulness and REM sleep. I can kind of picture it. I think with his wings and a head, probably. I think he's gonna be really cute. I kind of liked how this felt. This is just purely to see what the limbs look like on it, so they kind of like dangle. And I thought that was actually really cute. I did order doll shoulder joint bits. I don't know actually what you call them. And yes, apparently Camp Counselor is just the vibe for this project. Man, I love vlogs. All right, updates. That's his tail fin, and then his little fin above his tail. That's just horrifying wings over there. And then over here, the eyeballs. So those need to be painted. I'm gonna figure out the rest of the blinking mechanism. Teeth, just about set up. Same with the toesies. The head, we have the lower jaw. We are definitely making progress. How's your confidence level in me? Let's go. Came time to make his little head fins. I took some EVA foam, marked out the shapes that I wanted, quickly heated it with a heat gun, and then that allows you to shape it how you want it. And bam. Whoop. It may be 94 degrees out, but my brain cells work best when wrapped in an oversized grandpa sweater. It's like a cocoon. Let's talk teeth. The way that I'm thinking this is gonna work, the gums, peeled off some of these delicious candy and definitely would just eat the paper. Traced out the teeth, cut out a piece of foam that is going to be almost identical to the gum shape. And in hindsight, I probably should have made these freakishly long so that it would just have more space to come up. Where the day flows only time. Yeah, I definitely should have done that. Try to fix this problem. I made an epoxy gum lengthener. Listen, this whole thing was a hot mess. Essentially what I was attempting to do was to lengthen it enough so that it could penetrate through the different layers of the skull. So either the jaw or the teeth needed to be really, really long. But while my big brain is stewing over this, let's do some doll joints. This was really, really surprisingly easy. I just made a channel in the foam enough for this to free spin, made a well in the arm so that I could fill it with hot glue, attached the little shoulder joint to the body, and then you put the little washer on and stick it in. And there you go. Free moving little limbs. Lens is fogging. It's hot out here. Midday break to feed my children. With my fish children satisfied in their sustenance, it's time to get back to work. Started assembling the blinking eyes. I made a makeshift eyelid out of Warbler. I wasn't really sure how to shape it to the eye, so I tried heat forming it to the plastic globe. This was a bad idea. Do not do that. Instead, I heated it up and disassembled a home decor item to get this glass ball, which worked way better because it doesn't stick to the glass. Although after all this and testing it in the skull, he just looked a little creepy, so I decided to make his pupils bigger. But to do that, I really stuck it in there. So the only way to get it out of the dome was to completely shatter it into 5,000 different pieces. But once it looks like an explosion of plastic shards everywhere, I redid the pupils. After looking upon the creation of my craft tornado, and after doing so many mental gymnastics, my brain cells could rival Simone Biles. It was time to call it quits for the day. So please enjoy what I like to call the GFF, gratuitous frog footage. We've got some complications. This morning, I carved out the holes in the gum, and then I tried to fit the epoxy dentures above and through, and it did not work. The little teeth were too nubby. Taken some EVA foam. I made the teeth out of those. 9 of these little teethers. Denture piece out of Warbler. So once I sand these down, I'm gonna glue them onto that jaw. But the other problem is that the gums are very, very fragile. Probably should have forecasted that there would be some difficulties, but it's all right. This is why I don't wear nice things when I work. This project is cursed. I'm sure of it. A lot more problem solving and problem facing today than I initially thought there would be. Still working on the teeth. The eyes are going back in their gelatinous bulbs. We're getting there. To take a little brain break, I decided to just start assembling all the little fins. I initially hot glued these, but it turns out that it can peel right off, so I ended up super gluing these later. The teeth did not really work. He ended up looking like a Wallace and Gromit character. So plan C or D was just to rip that apart and end up using that epoxy dentures that I made, completely carving out the gums. And I realized the only way to finish this project was to enter Trash Goblin mode. Trash Goblin mode! Which includes, but is not limited to, cutting out 5,000 little spikes and being visibly annoyed when they shoot off into another dimension. And now, my friends, it's time for super sad disappointment time. I ended up making a pretty decent mechanism for the teeth with these jaw wires acting as a hinge, and then I would just push in and out. The eyes ended up being too big that the teeth had nowhere to go inside the skull. So unfortunately, I decided to scrap it. And then the eyes, this took me so many hours and only one of them was working kind of properly, and even so, it just looks so silly. So instead of stressing about it, as disappointing as it is, I decided to scrap that as well. The plus side of this being I had way more control over what his eye area looked like with foam clay. I also covered the giant gaping hole with gums as well. Again, super disappointed, but it happens. Hello and welcome to the final day. While I am extremely disappointed that none of my mechanisms worked, it feels like a huge failure. We persevere. I will say, I think he looks a lot cuter now. There he is. He's kind of derpy and I kind of like it. I don't know, even though I couldn't do the blinking eyes, I think, you know, we just make it work. 'Tis the final day, so let's run down what I need to do. It's a lot. Sand down all the lumpy bumpy bits, attach his little fins, Plasti-dip him, make some tiny paw pads, neck covering, figure out the arm illusion, and then the really fun part is adding on the little scales that he has. We'll talk about that more when it comes time, but for now. Do you think we can do it all in time? I'm sure as heck in hell gonna try. Yeehaw, partners, let's go. Once I figured out what kind of emotion I wanted him to have with his ears, I hot glued them on. So a fun little trick I like to do with the tongue, coat it in a few layers of liquid latex. Now, let me warn you, this smells like a fish market in a Mad Max-esque post-apocalyptic desert scene, but it ends up a really fun, like, gummy texture. Hey. If you've seen my Danny and Drogon, stuck it under my arm here, and then my arm is up here, have decided to upgrade this arm into a silicone arm from the same company. I am going to sacrifice this for this project. Ugh, God, he's cumbersome with these wings. But if I were to actually hold this like a real bebe, I don't really know actually. Maybe over like that. So my arm is gonna be in here. This. How does one hold a baby dragon? Okay, under. No, right? Out of context, this has got to be one of the weirdest nightmare creations of this channel. Cut this off at the elbow. Cut it at an angle so that it can lay on top of my elbow. Oh, this was expensive. Goodbye, soldier. You fought well. Oh, there's a wire in there. That's why. This was not as easy as I thought it would be. I am strong. Somehow. What? Holding my bundle of joy? Mama. Got some finagling to do, but the idea is there. Before Plasti-dipping him, I decided to cover him in Flex Bond to try to get rid of some of the lumps and bumps. It still didn't get rid of all of them, but I think it helped a lot. All right, time to Plasti-dip. My skull here. Pro tip, for all of the teeny tiny bits that usually fly away when you spray paint them, rolled up some tape. And now hopefully they won't go anywhere and I can actually spray paint them without them yeeting themselves into another existence. Welcome to a section I'm dubbing Midnight Scales, which is either A, my band name, or B, my crime thriller, about a murderous high school music teacher. I don't know, I'm tired. Let's try to do these scales with a hot glue gun. I don't know. So I kind of just started making little dollops of hot glue, trying my best not to get strings, but you know, I mean, it's gonna happen, so I just kept pulling them off as I was going. This worked way better than I thought it would, so after I finished on the face, I did the arms and legs. And then finally, I E6000'd all the little spiky bits on. Amidst the carnage of my fake arm, I plopped down and let out victory screech for the ages.
Yeah!
Well done. And with that, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but it is done and ready for the reveal. My son. That is it. Here he is. He is my precious angel boy. Let's do a quick wrap up. I'm already noticing some things that are gonna have to be changed if I bring him anywhere. One thing, which is quite pressing, we lost a toesy. Here it is. It took me a while to find because I also have rocks in my pocket. My niece gave me them. That is because I did not super glue this one on. Some of the scales are coming off because, as I mentioned before, the hot glue just does not want to stick to this fabric and means that I would have to super glue each scale individually, which is annoying. And then also his little neck thing came loose, I think because I hot glued it. I would probably just make a neck piece that's longer because I didn't really think about the fact that I could literally just tuck it into the neck hole and it's good. So everything else seems to be holding up pretty well. The liquid latex is sticking to everything. I think I was maybe supposed to like put a clear coat on it. I can't remember what I did for Drogon. I didn't have that problem with him. It's kind of just like sticking and getting goopy and gross. So those are the cons. And of course, the mechanism's not working. But you know what? I think he's cute. The blinking eyes and the retracting teeth would have been a really fun interactive moment and, you know, really gotten people to go, wow. Oh, I gotta tell you, my arm's tired. Speaking of arms, okay, well, the fake arm didn't really work. You barely saw any of it, and if you did, it was just fingertips going, I don't think you need it. Like, yeah, sure, it's probably a mystery where my other arm went. Definitely not in his butthole. Definitely not. I love his little movable limbs. I think that was a really good choice. So I can like kind of just side saddle him like a toddler. Such a labor of love and a labor of failure and discovery and a journey and a quest. Again, sometimes things just don't work out and that's okay. It's good to be done. I worked really hard on him. And I leave for an international trip very soon. And I have not even thought about it because this has been taking up all of my brain capacity. Fear not, I am not done with my puppet era. I have another creature that I want to make towards the end of July. Probably, it's going to be like a quicker one, so I'll probably do that on Patreon. Ooh, I really love making videos for y'all. Thank you for being here. I love you whether you're new or old to this channel. If you're new here and you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe. I upload every other Friday and we have fun here. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! Plonk. Whoa. You are so beautiful. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm watching you. Ow! Third. Bah! Majestic. Good job, Toothless. You did it. Baby's first outro.